Hi, everybody. Miss Melinda here, your spiritual worker from MissMelindasMetaphysicalServices.com, here to bring you our live spirit chat, which happens every Sunday, almost every Sunday, at 3 p.m. United States Central Standard Time on YouTube as well as Instagram. This is a chance for us to have a group teaching session. It's a chance for us to have a group Q&A session and to talk about spiritual development, talk about developing our spiritual practice, our spiritual path, our spiritual connection, and all kinds of things related and in between. So last week we did, not last week because I skipped last week, but the week before, so the last week that I was on, we did a prayer session where I taught about prayer and we discussed prayer and we prayed together and I prayed for you. So to start out this week, I do want to touch base on the art of prayer just for a little moment before moving on to other topics and addressing your early bird questions. So if you follow me on Instagram, you have a chance to submit early bird questions. That means that you can submit your questions in advance and you can submit them anonymously. And this way I can address them at the top of the hour. You can make sure that they get addressed. You can make sure that they get in, and you can make sure that you are not mentioned on the live chat. So that's a chance for you to get your questions into me. And so we're going to talk about, I see a lot of people saying a lot of things, saying hi, 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 everybody. I'm just kind of in my flow right now. I don't know what, hello, nice to see you. I'm glad that you're laughing and having a good day. Okay, so prayer. The reason that I was talking about prayer, the reason that I was advising you to start a prayer practice is because I recommend that your practice of magic is a holistic practice. What does it mean for magic to be a holistic practice? It means that you're addressing the things that you are seeking on every level of your life. You're addressing these things holistically from an emotional perspective, from a mental perspective, and from a physical perspective, and from a spiritual perspective. And the reason that it's beneficial to address things holistically in this way is because you need to have the actions to back up what you're seeking. You can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And if you recognize that in order to manifest what you're seeking, or in order to transform your life or transform yourself, you need to start within yourself as well. Then you need to have some kind of a practice for gaining the guidance and gaining the insight and gaining the wisdom and direction and spiritual support for the transformation that is needed within you. If you, let's say that you're seeking love in your life, right? And you keep wondering why your relationships aren't working out. You keep coming up against the same exact problems in all of your relationships. And time after time, the relationship doesn't work out and it's the same problem. And you're asking yourself, why am I attracting all of these same kinds of people? Why do I have to continue to suffer the same situation over and over again? Eventually, you need to get to a point where you recognize that something has to change within you so that you have the capability to nurture and develop and really make a relationship work, really make the kind of relationship that you want to work, right? So it's not just about attracting the right person into your life in this instance. It's also about you having the skills and the qualities and the characteristics needed in order to really make that kind of relationship work. You can attract the right person into your life. It doesn't mean that you know how to nurture and sustain and really grow and develop that relationship in a healthy, well-balanced way. So that's just one example of why we need to have the humility and the awareness and the perseverance to work on ourselves in order to attain the things that we're seeking in life. If you weren't here in the beginning, I'm talking about a holistic practice of magic, a holistic approach to the practice of magic. And I'm talking about why I addressed prayer and recommended the art of prayer to you all in our last spirit chat, which happened 2 weeks ago. And with a holistic practice of magic or a holistic approach to magic, you're going to want to have one element that really addresses your personal growth and your personal guidance, right? So magic can address these things from a metaphysical or energetic perspective, whereas your spiritual relationship can address the personal growth that is needed within you. So what I recommend is that when you're approaching what you want in your life, right? When you have a goal or an overall outcome that you're seeking in your life, that you sit down and you make a plan for all the different ways that you want to approach it, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and physically, and that you have an action plan that matches all of those areas in your life. So prayer practice can actually attend to the psychological and the emotional aspect of it. Unless you may also need counseling, right? Which is fine, lots of people do. If you need extra support in those areas, it's a good idea to seek that as well. But as far as gaining the guidance and the insight and the direction and the signs and the messages that we need in order to understand how to develop and change and grow ourselves, that's the importance of prayer, and that's the meaning and the depth that prayer can really bring into our lives, and that's why I recommend prayer. So definitely you can cast your spell, which is going to attend to one aspect of your spiritual side. If you even practice magic from a spiritual perspective, you don't have to, right? So your spell can be approaching the situation from a magical or a metaphysical or an energetic perspective. Your prayer, which is focused around your relationship to spirit, your relationship to source, your relationship to the universe, that is approaching things from a perspective of spiritual growth and understanding that you need guidance and support and insight in order to cultivate the kind of growth that is needed to not just to manifest what you're seeking, but to actually have the skills available to hold on to it when you get it and to take care of it and to keep it in your life, right? If you're not able to attend to what you're drawing into your life, then what is the point of getting it? So this is what I'm trying to get at with why it's so important to focus on personal growth and transformation as one aspect of the bigger picture goals that we're seeking. And this is also what I'm trying to get at with how I recommend prayer for you. So when you sit down to pray, you're really focusing on, show me what to do. Show me how I need to grow. Show me what I need to develop. Show me how to be grateful. Show me how to have faith. Show me what needs to change within myself, within my perspective, within my approach to life, and within my approach to others, so that I can be the person who has these sort of things, or has this sort of life, or understands how to function in this sort of life, or understands how to nurture the things once I acquire them, right? So this is just what I wanted to follow up on regarding prayer practice. Let me say some hi to people. Hi to some people. Hi, Bougie Hillbilly. Hi, Beth Flynn. Thank you. Hi, Joanna. Nice to see you here. prayers are so important. Yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. It's nice to see you. Hi, Yadi, nice to see you. Hi, Champagne. For those of you who haven't been here before, Live Spirit Chat takes place at almost every Sunday at 3 p.m. United States Central Standard Time on YouTube and Instagram. It is recorded on Instagram and will continue to, it is recorded on YouTube and will continue to be on YouTube indefinitely. Yeah, prayers help us connect to our Creator, but the way that we pray is really important. And using prayer as an instrument of guidance for our self-growth, guidance for our transformation, guidance for our awareness is what I'm recommending here. Rather than praying to Creator, hey, help me. Hey, do this thing for me. Hey, I need your help. Please fix my life, right? It's, hey, I need your help. Please show me what I need to fix within myself. I need your help. Please guide me and show me what actions to take. Show me what to do. Help me figure out what decisions to make. Guide me in a way that is going to be best for me. Guide me in my growth. And if you don't know what you need to change, if you don't know how you need to grow, then that's what you ask for. Show me how I can grow. Show me how I can transform. Show me what I need to see about myself. Show me those hard truths that I need to see about myself. Show me how changing my perspective can help with my overall life, or can help me attain this thing, or help me solve this problem. Show me what responsibility I have in this situation so that I know what I can do, because the only thing that I have control over is myself. And I'm lost right now. So Creator, Spirit, Creator, God, pure universal energy, source, whatever it may be, please show me what I can change within myself so that I can make my life better, or so that I can deal with this other thing more easily, or so that I can deal with these other people who I can't control, you know, so that I can attend to these situations and really create the kind of life that I'm looking for through mastery over the only thing I have mastery over, which is myself and my growth, right? Okay, let's move on to some other stuff. One thing that I wanted to bring up is these Live Spirit Chats are not a place to learn everything. This isn't a place to be like, how do I practice magic? How do I cast a spell? How do I, you know, how do I do these big picture things? How do I be a witch? You know, this is a place where you can bring specific questions that are related to your spiritual practice, your spiritual development, your spiritual connection, and all kinds of things related in between. But it's not a place where you are going to get the hands-on, one-on-one teaching or guidance that I would offer in a private session. So when you come here, then the attitude that is best is to understand that you need to put in some work on your own. You need to do some research on your own. This isn't an end-all, be-all place that you can use to learn everything that you need to learn. You need to be able to put in some work. And one of the reasons that you need to be able to put in some work is because you have to learn what works best for you personally. Anything that you're learning how to do, anything that you're developing is going to be much more powerful when you learn the personal approaches that really work the best with your energy. And this also means learning your own philosophies, learning your own beliefs, you know, doing some thinking about these kind of bigger picture things as well. So here in these chats, I'm coming from a universalist perspective, which for the most part means that you're going to be able to apply this information to any religion or any spiritual practice that you may or may not have, or even to adopt some of these practices without a spiritual system or without a religious system. So developing those other things is all extremely personal to you, and that personal development really needs to happen in order for you to implement any of this in an effective way. Like, it's just like spell casting, for an example. I can tell you a spell, I can give you all the ingredients for a spell, I can tell you the instructions for a spell, but if you don't know the basics of practicing magic, if you don't know how to raise energy and direct energy, if you don't know how to protect yourself, if you don't know how to look up corresponding herbs, if you don't know the basic foundations for magic or spell casting, you're just going to be following some steps, and it can end up feeling really dry and really empty and not yielding the results that you want, because you have to put in the personal effort, you have to put in the personal work, and that does mean some experimentation. A lot of people are really afraid to experiment with magic. Well, did you learn to cook without experimenting? Did you ever burn a cake? Did you ever have a loaf of bread that fell and wouldn't rise? I mean, have you ever ruined a dish that you were trying to cook? You know, there isn't anything in life that we can learn without actually practicing. And magic and spell casting is the same. So keep these things in mind as you're coming to these chats with these questions. Okay, so hi, Evelyn and Jim, nice to see you. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer the early bird questions that were submitted, and we may or may not have time for live questions as well. You're welcome, Bougie Hillbilly. No, I appreciate your questions. I'm just giving out some general information. So I need some water. Have you all noticed that this is going to be an intense holiday season? I've noticed that people's triggers are coming out with a fierceness. I wonder if you all are having some similar experiences. You know, this seems to be a really specifically triggering holiday season, and a lot of people seem to be having a lot of personal issues coming up regarding their security, their identity, their upbringing, their sense of home, their sense of belonging, their sense of self-accomplishment, these kinds of like deep-seated issues that sort of push our subconsciousness and drive us are really coming out with a fierceness right now. So I just want to say that if any of you out there are experiencing tension in your families, tensions with your friends, if any of you had a rough Thanksgiving, if these kinds of issues are coming up within you, or if you're just feeling really raw and really emotional and you have a lot of stuff going on in your mind or in your heart, you're not alone. This is going on for pretty much everybody that I have been in contact with recently. So just want to say that I'm sending you love. I'm sending you support. You're not alone. I think this is going on for a lot of people, and I think it's going on for a lot of people who are due for or going through some really important spiritual growth. So keep that in mind as well, that these kinds of tensions and challenges and difficulties, they are useful for our spiritual growth, even if they really suck when we're going through them. So just wanted to throw that out there. All right, the first question has a really in-depth answer. So the first question is, I want to start working with Lama Dama. Do you have any suggestions for doing that? Yeah, I have a lot to say about this, so I need to try to narrow it down. The first thing that I want to say is anytime that you want to work with a spirit, the most important thing, first and foremost, is to understand the historical and the cultural foundations that spirit is coming from. So Lama Dama, she is coming from Santeria. She's coming from Espiritismo. She has wound up in folk magic. She's wound up in hoodoo and root work and other kinds of folk magic. And I'm never someone who's going to tell someone what spirit they should or should not work with. That's a personal calling. But what I do highly recommend is to respect and honor the traditions that she originally came from, to respect and honor those those cultures in Central America, Cuba, and so forth, all the places where Santeria, Lucumi, and Spiritismo come from, and to pay homage to the ancestors of those traditions, and to have that in your forefront when you are approaching a spirit from such a tradition. That being said, yeah, she's present in folk magic in a big way. So that is fine as well. But as long as you are paying that respect, as long as you're giving credit where credit is due, as long as you're taking that into consideration and you're doing your work with her in a respectful way, rather than crossing any boundaries, right? Rather than getting into areas of appropriation, and kind of understanding that dynamic. So that's just a really quick overview for that, right? Secondly, La Madama, a couple of things that people do not understand, or that people often get confused about when it comes to her. She is not one spirit. It's a family of spirits. It's a group of spirits. Also, it's a spirit. These are spirits of the dead. This is not a saint. This is not a deity. This is spirits of the dead. So that is why I would recommend that if you're going to work with La Madama, or you have a calling to, or you feel like you have a calling to work with a Madama spirit, that you approach it from a spiritualist perspective, because that's what spiritualism is working with spirits. This isn't a saint. This isn't a deity. This is a spirit of the dead. And you need to ask yourself, do I have the basic foundations down to work with the spirit of the dead? Do I know how to protect myself? Do I know how to cleanse myself? Do I have tools or abilities to communicate with the dead, right? So these foundational things need to be in place if you're going to be working with the spirit of the dead, especially with her, because this is a group of spirits or a family of spirits. That means that you need to develop your personal relationship with one of these spirits that has a calling to come to you, right? So that takes some work. That takes some dedication. That takes some dedication for your personal development, as well as some dedication to developing that relationship. It's not as simple as leave some offering, say a prayer, and then the spirit is going to come and do some stuff for you. This is a relationship that you're entering into. You need to have the wherewithal and the skills. Skills isn't exactly the right word, but for lack of a better word, the wherewithal and the skills to know how to discern if it is a spirit that you even want to work with, and to know how to discern if a spirit presents itself to you. Is it a spirit that you trust? And is it a spirit that you're going to enter into a relationship with? So this is a whole process that needs to be gone through. That's the first thing. Those are the first things I have to say about her. The other things to take into consideration, many people consider this family of spirits to be spirits of slave women, of dead slave women, who basically took care of the homes, took care of the kitchens, and took care of the families that they were enslaved to. So you need to be in recognition of this relationship, that these are spirits of slaves that were taking care of people that they were enslaved to. And then you need to understand your relationship and your identity and how that plays into that. So there's a lot to take into consideration with working with a Madama spirit. Now, there are other people, other groups of people who feel that she's not a slave spirit at all. They don't prefer to think of her in those ways. There's a lot of mythology that goes along with her. There were dolls that were left for the children of slaves who had their mothers taken away from them, right? Separating families during slavery was a big thing. It was a big way that for the colonialists to exert power over the slaves and to control them. So separating families was huge, separating mothers from their children, separating couples, things of this nature. So there's another myth that goes along with this that talks about the dolls, that the mothers would make dolls for their children when they were taken away from the children. I'm like getting emotional. The mothers would make dolls for the children that most likely had magical links to the mothers to help, so that a part of them would stay with the children and to help protect the children and to help the children remember them. And a lot of people say that this is how the Madama tradition came to be, that the iconography or the statues and images of the Madama spirit are made in the image of those dolls. So please understand these cultural and historical conditions if you would like to work with a spirit like this. Okay, so Madama spirits. Many people feel that she is a spirit who helps with people who are professional magic makers, especially people who perform divination. And one of the biggest ways that she helps in that context is by helping you transform or transmute the energy of the clients that you're working for. That means taking any negative energy, taking any unwanted energies that they're bringing to you, that they're laying on you, that they're giving to you to be healed. She is assisting you with transforming that energy into something positive for yourself and your client. That's one of her jobs, according to some traditions. So she can assist with divination. She can assist with bringing in paying clients. She can assist with helping you with your work in all types of ways, helping you with any type of magic, and especially with cleansing up any energy associated with this magic, associated with your divination and so forth, and helping you and the client turn it into something positive, whether that's, more money or paying customers or better business, and as well as the healing and whatever it is that your client needs. And then other people work with her in a more generalized way and feel that she's good for road opening and for money and for attending to your home. Attending to your home in all of the ways of being sure that our basic needs are met, right? So our home is cleansed and protected, our spirits are cared for, we're abundant, we're prosperous, our money is flowing, these kinds of basic needs. So this is just a very, very general overview of La Madama. Take into consideration what I have mentioned to you in the very beginning, which is that she is associated with Santeria, with Lukumi, with the Spiritismo. So there's lots and lots of cultures all over the world that have these traditions, right? So there's going to be lots of variations of the Madama spirit or the Madama family of spirits according to these different cultures. So what I'm giving you here is a very basic foundation or a very basic background. All right, so the next question is also about her. I have seen Madama dressed in red, but also in blue, yellow, and all white. Is there any significance to that, or is it just an aesthetic? It is not just an aesthetic. There is always a significance to these kinds of details in any kind of spiritual work or magic. So there's symbolism of these colors. For instance, red can be used for passion. It can be used for love, but most often in the context of Madama, red is used for power, for action, for personal power, for speeding things up, for anything associated with adding extra energy, adding extra oomph, right? For speeding things up and getting things done and pushing things forward. That's when some of this like road opener sort of energy comes in. Blue is for healing, it's for communication, but in this context, it's mostly for healing. So because Madama is a family of spirits or a group of spirits, there are going to be different spirits within that family that specialize in different things. long story short, these colors represent those different specialties. White is also for healing, but also for protection. Blue is for healing and also for communication and for peace, for tranquility. You know, white's going to be for cleansing and protection, etc. So let's move on here. I know a lot of you are submitting questions. I'm going to try to get to the live questions once I get through the early birds. One more thing I wanted to say about the Madama spirit is that because she's a spirit of the dead, and because I'm coming from a spiritualist perspective, I do recommend that you take that aspect of it very seriously, and that you consider, she's considered a spirit guide because she's a spirit of the dead. So you have to consider, do I have a calling to work with this spirit guide? Is this spirit guide in my spiritual frame? Is this spirit guide one that is surrounding me and one that I have a personal connection to? Okay. Next question. Every time I sit at my altar, I start to cry thinking about my departed family members. Is that okay? Or should I try to avoid tears when I'm attempting to communicate with my departed family members? No, it's absolutely fine for you to be crying with your ancestors. Especially, you know, that's, yes, you should be expressing your feelings with your ancestors. I will say that if someone has passed recently, they're probably not going to make themselves present to you, and they're almost definitely not going to be any kind of guide for you, because they're probably still in a process or a journey of their own at this point before they evolve a little bit more. There are exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, this is true. So it's okay to express to your ancestors that you miss them, but with your ancestor work, the primary goal is really to pay homage to and develop relationships with those ancestors that do have some spiritual evolution under their belt and are there to assist you and guide you and be a type of guide in your life. So they're most likely not going to be the guides that have passed or the ancestors that have passed recently. Then what you would be doing here is really expressing to your older, wiser, more evolved ancestors, I really miss these recently deceased. I'm struggling with this. I miss my family. You know, your other ancestors are going to have compassion for that, obviously, and they will help you. They'll guide you and help you heal. And I feel it's an incredibly healing practice to pour your emotions out to your ancestors in this way, and that you can definitely cry with them. In fact, this is exactly what you should be doing, is bringing your troubles to them. Even if you're not necessarily asking them for anything, by bringing your troubles to them and opening your heart to them and pouring your soul out to them, you're letting them know what you need guidance with and what you need help with. And I feel very strongly that when you do this, you will start to be transformed. You will start to see how you will start to change, and you'll start to see your life changing as well. Especially when you really get down to the nitty gritty and you really start being honest about what you need and what is hanging you up, and how you're coping, and you know what you're going through. Yeah, I highly recommend this. What herb should I use for getting a better job or a better salary? So I would, there's a couple of different categories of herbs that you could work with for this. So I'm going to give you a very basic recipe. This is kind of like the foundation recipe for my money drawing powder. And you can use that for drawing money and prosperity and abundance into your life. But then I'm going to tell you some herbs and curios that are specific for getting a raise or getting a better job. So for a basic money drawing powder, grind up equal parts of confectioner's sugar, or powdered sugar, which is also known as attraction powder. So ground up equal parts of attraction powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, add some patchouli in there if you'd like to, and mint, patchouli root if you can find it, and mint. And maybe some allspice as well. So grind up equal parts of at least 3 or 4 of those things I mentioned and use that as an attraction powder. So you can use this to sprinkle around the 4 corners of your home. You can use it to sprinkle around the outside perimeter of your home. You can use it in lots and lots of different ways, but the point is you put your intention into it or pray with it and use it to attract money, prosperity, abundance into your life. You could use it as a floor sweep after you've cleansed your home. You can sprinkle it on your floor and then sweep it up later on after you've prayed over it, and sweep it from your front door out your back door. If you sweep it in your front door, then you're sweeping those blessings in your front door. That's why I'm recommending sweeping it in through your front door and then out your back door. You have to sweep it up anyway. Okay, and then some herbs specifically for attracting a raise or getting a better job. That's going to be buckeye. It's going to be grains of paradise, gravel root, and I wrote down another one, master of the woods. Those are very well-known curios and herbs to assist with getting a raise or getting a better job. Okay. What day should I use my road opener candle? I'm seeking a better job with better pay. So personally, I like road openings on Mondays. And that's because there are some prominent spirits that are related to Mondays who specialize in road opening. But I also like Wednesdays for road opening, and that's not super traditional, but it's a day that I like. So yeah, I would say Monday. Use your road opening candles on Mondays. You could also do Sunday, but Monday is probably the easiest and best day to work with that energy. What's a good protection spell in my comings and goings or everyday life? And then she says something about evil demonic spirit. So I'm guessing that she is asking for protection in her everyday life against evil or demonic spirits. So first of all, what I would say is your belief, the way that you're thinking about things, and the mindset that you have is going to go a long way in protecting you. So the first thing that I would say is, why do you think that you need protection from evil or demonic spirits? Are you doing intensive spirit work? Are you working with spirits? Are you calling in spirits of the dead? Are you practicing a lot of magic and you're not cleansing yourself and you're not protecting yourself? Are you actually doing anything that would attract evil or demonic spirits into your life? If you're not, then I would not worry about evil or demonic spirits. Worrying about those kinds of things and believing that those kinds of things are going to target you or that you're going to attract them, that can, in and of itself, that can open you up to danger. So I would recommend not worrying too much about evil or demonic spirits unless you're practicing a bunch of magic and like in an unsafe way and leaving yourself open to these kinds of spirits. So the first part of the question is, what's a good protection spell for comings and goings? And the first thing that I'm going to say is, I'm just really thinking about how I want to say this. So the first thing that I'm going to say is your relationship with your spirits is the most important thing for protecting you. And when I say your spirits, start with your ancestors. Your relationship with your ancestors is the most important thing that's going to protect you. Does it mean that your life will be perfect and that you will never be in danger? No, it doesn't. None of us are going to have a perfect life or never be in danger no matter what, right? So I don't come from the belief system that if you're working on your spiritual evolution and you're doing everything that you should in your life, then your life is going to be perfect and you're going to have no problems. I don't believe that. I also don't believe that everybody manifests everything that occurs to them or everything that they experience. There is such a thing as fate as well as free will, and the two things work in conjunction with one another. So let's get down to some protection stuff. So I like to do the protection work in conjunction with my home environment, and with myself. So a way that I can explain that is using your home environment as an energetic body to assist you with your overall life is very, very powerful. So when we're doing like house cleansings or house blessings, it's not just about our home, it's about ourselves and our overall lives. And when we're doing cleansings and blessings on ourselves energetically or spiritually, it's not just about our body or our person, it's about our overall lives. So I like to work with this kind of energy and really use my home environment as well as my personal energy as a way to draw the energy into my life that I'm seeking. And then if you need some extra protection for your physical home as well, then that's an added bonus. It's going to work on your physical home as well as your overall life. So I recommend regular spiritual cleansing of your physical home, as well as adding an element of protection into that spiritual cleansing of yourself and your physical home. So let's think about what that will look like. I recommend that once a week, every other week, at least once a month, you're doing an intensive cleansing of your home, meaning that you start with regular cleaning, like a spring cleaning, like a big cleaning, or, as involved as you can get of your home, top to bottom. After that, you add some elements of spiritual cleansing. When you're doing this, you are focusing on sweeping out the unwanted or negative energies from your home and from your life. So an easy way to do this would be Florida water. If you want to get rid of things, then you're going to be mopping from the back door to the front door. If you want to draw things in, like draw in protection, then you're mopping from the front door to the back door, right? So just like giving you kind of an overview of how to work with the energy of your home for drawing in protection. You want to start with cleansing, because if you don't get rid of unwanted or negative energies, then you're not going to be able to draw anything in over the top of that, right? You have to first get rid of what you don't want, or get rid of the old, in order to draw in the new. Another way you could do it with salt water is with salt water, but salt water could damage your floors. So what I recommend is that you do that intensive cleansing of your home, and then you mop with something like Florida water for your spiritual cleansing. And then you also set some intentions for protection after that. You could do that with an additional floor wash, but Florida water is all purpose. So the Florida water can serve the purpose of cleansing out the negative or unwanted energies, as well as drawing in the blessings and protection. And then afterwards, light a protection incense, light a white candle in every room of your home. Leave out an offering for the guardian spirit of your home, or leave out an offering for your ancestors, and say some prayers for protection. And say those prayers for protection for yourself, for your family, for your overall life. If you want to take that a step further, you can use some protection oil. You can anoint your windowsills, you can anoint your doorknobs, you can anoint your car, you can anoint yourself. And then, like I was saying before, I recommend that you do that energetic cleansing for yourself as well. So a salt water bath would be a really good way to do that for your own body. And you can make that a part of this bigger ritual. I recommend that you cleanse the home first before you cleanse your body. I prefer to have the environment energetically cleansed and charged before I go ahead and attend to my physical self. Because if I cleanse my physical self first, but then I'm in a space that hasn't been physically cleansed, then what good is that, right? So I prefer to do the spiritual bath after cleansing the home. And then the other question is, how can I magically protect me and my family? It's so much going on in the world. So I hope that the basic instructions I gave you are helpful for magically protecting yourself and your family with so much going on in the world. If you want to add some other steps, if you really feel like you need to amp up your protection more, then you could carry some protection charms, like an evil eye charm, things of this nature. You can put that protection oil in many different places on many different occasions. You can be putting that protection oil on yourself daily. You can be putting that protection oil on your clothes. You can get yourself a mojo bag or a charm bag for protection. You can carry some evil eye charms for protection, but you're gonna need to learn how to charge these items and work with these items. You know, you're gonna need to learn how to raise some energy and direct some energy into these items, and really think about what if you want to work with spirits, or if you're only working with your own energy, you know. And if you are working with spirits, then you could just simply ask them for protection and ask them to help you with this. So there's a lot of different ways you can approach this, and it really depends on what's going to work best for you and what's going on in your spiritual connection and in your spiritual philosophies. That part is super important. Okay, I got through all of the early bird questions. Let's see what's going on with any kind of live questions. And we don't have a ton of time left, but we have some time to address some. It looks like Yadi was maybe asking a question and then retracted it. If you still want to ask a question, Yadi, go ahead and let me know. I have time to answer it now. Let's see what's going on Instagram. I see lots of comments, lots of questions. What is a good protection bath? New Year's is coming. One of my favorite protection herbs is rue. And one of the reasons that it's one of my favorites is because it's not just for protection, it's for intensive spiritual cleansing, and it will cleanse off unwanted spiritual energies and entities. So even spirit attachments. I like to make a strong bath with rue. And you have to be a little bit careful with it. It can be toxic if you used it in like ginormous quantities, which is, you know, unlikely, but you definitely can't drink it, right? And you wouldn't want like your pets or your children to drink it. But rue is incredibly, incredibly powerful for this kind of bath, and I highly recommend it. You can add just like 1 or 2 cups to a big 3-quart pan of water. Brew it up really nice and strong, strain it, let it cool, add it to your bath water. Make sure you dunk your head under it 3 times, unless you follow a spiritual tradition which tells you not to wet your head. Some people do. Otherwise, if you don't, then dunk your head 3 times. Maybe when you get out, light a white candle, say some prayers. It's as simple as that. What are some offerings to give to La Madama? Really simple offerings, a white candle, a candle dedicated to Madama, because it's a family of spirits that has different specialties and covers so much different areas, or so many different areas. It's really going to depend highly upon how you're working with her, and what her area of specialty is and what you all are doing together. But just very generally speaking, she likes basic offerings like alcohol. I've found gin or whiskey, black coffee, you know, fresh water, charged water, fresh flowers, incense, a bit of your home cooked meal or a plate of your home cooked food, and plain candles. I hope that you so someone is asking, can anyone work with them? And I hope that from all of the information that I gave you, you have an understanding of how and why and who could be working with them. What's the end game to this as a whole? I don't know what you're asking about. Maybe if you'd like an answer to that question, you can clarify or be a little bit more specific. Yeah, you can boil rue, make that strong tea like I was saying. Okay, I use Madama to help me for my personal protection. Great. Hi, thanks for being here. I'm glad that you caught me live too. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Oh yeah, no problem, Yadi. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I could get to your question if you wanted me to. Yeah, I was thinking of you when I was talking about Lama Dama. I figured that you were enjoying that conversation. Oh, I get it. I get what you're saying, Evelyn and Jim. Yeah, I don't think I touched on her for protection, but that is one of the very basic things that people go to her for. So like when I was talking about basic needs for your home or your home life, it's basically like managing the foundational needs for your life, right? Like our basic needs of food, protection, shelter, safety, abundance, money, etc. Okay, well, does anybody else have any live questions? Yeah, Evelyn and Jim, I'm not saying that, she's not going to work with you or that she doesn't answer you. I'm just letting you know some historical and some foundational information about her and how she's worked with in different cultures and in different traditions, as well as the perspective that I would recommend approaching her from, which is from spiritualism and keeping in mind that she's a spirit of the dead and that she's not one spirit, she's a family of spirits, and that if you're working with her, you're going to want to figure out which individual spirit you are working with and eventually build a deeper connection and relationship with that particular spirit. Maybe even, find out her name and what her specialties are and things of this nature. But if she's already helping you with protection, then you already know that that's one of her areas of specialty. And if protection is something that you're going to continue working with her for, then I would recommend the Madama in white, right? Because we were also talking about the colors that she comes in. You could do blue, but I would recommend white because I like the cleansing and purification element of that as well, especially since she is so often associated with transmuting or transforming energy, taking unwanted energies and turning it into something new. Spiritual cleansing or spiritual purification is a really important part of protection, energetic protection. So I would recommend that you take that stuff into consideration, especially if you want to continue this relationship and you want to develop this relationship, because from my experience and from my perspective, sometimes these relationships can start out really strong and really intense, but there will come a point where you reach a plateau and you'll need to continue to work on developing this and nurturing it and maintaining it. And then at that point, the same stuff that you've been doing already might not be enough anymore. You'll have to take things further. So you need to be developing this relationship in the same way that you would develop a romantic relationship, or in the same way that you would develop a relationship with a friend or family member, you get closer, and the relationship evolves as you know each other better. So I hope that some of this information also helps you understand how to continue to develop and deepen this relationship. not just so you can maintain it, but so it can also grow. You're welcome, Mary Moonstar. I didn't say hi to you, so hi. Nice to see you here. Do you know any spirits that would help with single moms? I've seen one in the Guide to Spirits books, but can't find it since. I would also like to know who to work with to help with empathic draining. You know, I can't think off the top of my head about a saint or spirit who is specifically aligned with single moms, but I'll tell you that I love Our Lady of Guadalupe for everything related to women and mothers, motherhood. So I would recommend Our Lady of Guadalupe, some prayers to her. Empath. I think that you're talking about like being energetically drained from being an empath. So I would just seek protection for that. Actually, I would work with Saint Dymphna for that, but that's not a traditional answer. That's just what I feel personally and what I would feel a calling to. But what I recommend more than working with a spirit for protecting your energy as an empath is to learn some basic shielding, to learn some basic energetic cleansing, to learn some grounding, to learn things of this nature. Are there any good candles or prayers for a good holiday season? Maybe not specifically for holidays, although, excuse me, spirits that are traditionally, or saints that are traditionally honored during the holiday season are the Holy Child of Attica, Saint Lucy, Saint Lazarus, and Our Lady of Guadalupe. They all have feast days in December. So those are the 4 that I work for in December. So they can also assist you with a good holiday season. And then as well, it's traditional at this time of year to do your cleansings, to do your spiritual cleansings, and then to do your road openers, to go ahead and open your road towards drawing in blessings, abundance, and good luck for the coming year. So you would want to do that towards New Year. So now is a good time to start your cleansings. Those are the spirits that you can work with if you'd like to develop a relationship with them. You can also light some cleansing candles or some purification candles, some uncrossing candles, something that's in that family, and then follow that up with your road opener candles. Yeah, you're welcome. Nice to see you, by the way, King Sir Gabriel. I think that I also didn't say hi to you. So hi, and nice to see you. I feel someone is doing witchcraft on me, and I'd like to know how to permanently stop it and how I can block them. So unfortunately, that is too big of a question for right now. But some super simple, basic information would be light a reversal candle and then work really hard on your protection and probably perform some spiritual cleansing on yourself, right? So step 1, light a reversal candle. Step 2, intensive spiritual cleansing. Step 3, strong protection. Okay, that's the basic steps that are going to assist you with this situation. I'm going to go ahead and log off. Oh, no problem. The only reason I didn't go a little bit more in depth is because we're almost at 60 minutes, which is my cutoff time. But those basic steps, like go ahead and research or do some additional thinking or looking into those those 3 steps that I mentioned. And that should be all that you need, as well as permanently stopping it. If you think that this person is going to continue to do magic against you, then you're probably going to want to do some kind of binding work, right? So those are the 4 different areas of magic that I recommend you look into for yourself. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of your questions. I appreciate you spending your time with me on Sundays. I really love these conversations we have together, and I love you. I love all of you, and I'm wishing you many, many blessings. I'm wishing you lots of strength and healing and peace and tranquility and abundance this holiday season. Thank you so much. Stay blessed. Bye-bye. Okay, see you all later. Thanks so much, YouTube. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Nice chatting with you today. Please be blessed and please be gentle with yourself this holiday season. It's a doozy, right? It seems like lots of challenges and triggers for everybody. So be gentle with yourself this holiday season. Think about ways that you might need to have stronger boundaries, and think about ways that you can care for yourself. And if you feel yourself feeling really challenged by other people, challenged by your family, challenged by situations this holiday season, just know that you're not alone. This is going on for lots and lots of people. And it is a part of our spiritual growth, a part of our spiritual evolution. And if you start to really have a hard time, do some cleansings on yourself and do some contemplation about how you want to approach things differently in the new year, and what you're learning from this situation and how you want to care for and love yourself going into the new year. So thanks so much, everybody. Be blessed.